The smoke still hung heavy in the air, rolling like dark waves across the broken colony. The ground was scattered with shattered glass, burning metal, and twisted beams from buildings that once stood tall. The colony had been alive only hours ago, but now silence ruled the land. The warships had come fast, leaving nothing but ruins and screams fading into the wind. In the middle of the wreckage, a small figure lay between the stones. It was a girl, alien by blood but not by spirit. Her skin glowed faintly, pale blue under the dust, her breath shallow and weak. Her arms trembled as she tried to crawl, but every movement made the pain worse. She whispered for help, though no one remained to answer. Her family had been there. They had seen her fall, seen her cry out. Yet when the evacuation ships took off, they left without her. Her mother's eyes had looked back only once, filled not with sorrow but with cold acceptance. The girl had been weak, injured, too much of a burden in a time of survival. And so, the family had chosen to survive without her. Now she was alone. The colony's rubble echoed with the faint hum of distant engines. Somewhere far above, alien patrol ships circled, scanning for survivors. The girl pressed her face to the dust, as if hiding could make her invisible. But her small body shivered from both fear and the blood loss draining her strength. A shadow moved across the ruined street. Heavy boots crunched against gravel. It was not an alien soldier this time, it was a man, a human. He moved cautiously, scanning every corner with wary eyes. His clothes were worn, blackened by ash, and a crude rifle rested across his shoulder. He looked like a scavenger, someone left behind after the battle, someone searching the ruins for scraps. His steps were slow but deliberate. He had seen enough death to know danger could hide anywhere. Then he froze. His eyes caught the faint glow beneath the rubble. At first he thought it was some broken alien device, maybe a shard of their technology. But then it moved, a trembling hand reaching weakly toward him. It was the girl. Her lips parted, and a fragile voice slipped out. "Please, don't leave me too." The words struck him harder than any weapon. He lowered his rifle, staring in. Silence. She was alien. Different skin, different eyes, not of his kind. Yet in her face he saw something universal. Fear, pain, the desperate hope that someone might care. For a moment he hesitated. The rules of survival were clear. Helping her meant slowing down, exposing himself, carrying a burden that could get him killed. He knew aliens had brought destruction to this colony, had killed humans like him. Maybe this girl's family had been part of it. Maybe saving her was foolish. But he also knew what it felt like to be abandoned. He crouched beside her, brushing aside the rubble with his rough hands. Her wounds were deep, cuts along her side and a broken leg that bled into the dirt. She was shaking, barely able to hold her head up. "You're alive," he muttered, almost surprised at himself for speaking. "You shouldn't be, but you are." The girl's eyes, large, glowing faintly like fractured crystals, locked onto his. "They left me," she whispered. "My family, they left me." The man's jaw tightened. He remembered soldiers leaving wounded men behind, remembered leaders abandoning colonies when wars turned. He knew betrayal well. And looking at this girl, he realized she was just another victim of the same cold calculation. Slowly, he lifted her into his arms. She was light, fragile, her body trembling against him. The warmth of her faint breath against his neck reminded him she was still fighting to live. The ruins around him were not safe. Alien patrols could return at any moment. Every instinct told him to move, to escape. Yet the moment he turned with the girl in his arms, he felt the weight of choice settle deep inside him. He had chosen her. Her faint voice broke the silence. Again. Why help me?" He looked down at her, unsure of how to answer. Then his reply came in a low, steady voice. "Because no one deserves to be left behind." The sound of engines grew closer. He pressed against the shadows of a broken wall, holding the girl tightly. Bright searchlights cut through the smoke, sweeping across the ruins. Alien voices barked through comms, searching, hunting. He pulled the girl closer, heart pounding. If they found her, if they found him carrying her, there would be no mercy. Yet he did not put her down. The searchlights passed. The ships roared overhead, moving deeper into the colony. Silence returned. The man exhaled slowly. His grip on the girl tightened, not from fear now, but from resolve. He would not let go. Somewhere in the galaxy, an alien family felt safe because they had abandoned their own child. But tonight, in the ashes of a broken colony, a human had done what they could not. The girl's eyes closed, her breathing steadying, safe, at least for now. And in the silence, the man knew this was only the beginning. The man carried the alien girl through the ruins, every step echoing in the silence of the dead colony. The smoke still curled upward, black fingers stretching into the sky. Fires burned in the distance, their glow reflecting on broken walls. His arms ached under her weight, but he didn't let go. The girl stirred weakly, her head resting against his shoulder. Her faint breath tickled his skin. Her wounds still bled, leaving a dark trail against his worn jacket. He knew he had to stop soon to treat her injuries, but he also knew stopping could mean death. The patrol ships would come back, they always came back. He ducked into a collapsed building, slipping through a half-broken doorway. Inside, the air was thick with dust. The roof sagged, but it still offered cover. He set the girl down gently against the wall. She whimpered softly, her glowing eyes half open. "You need help," he muttered, tearing fabric from his sleeve. His rough hands pressed the cloth against her wounds. She flinched but didn't cry out. Her strength was fading, yet her gaze never left his face. "You are not like them," she whispered. The man frowned. "Not like who?" "My family. My people. They said I was weak. They said I slowed them down." Her voice trembled. "So, they left me. Alone." He looked away, his jaw tightening. He had seen humans do the same in war, leaving the wounded, abandoning the helpless. It was not only aliens who could be cruel, but hearing it from her lips cut deep. "You're alive," he said firmly, "and that means you're not weak. Not yet." Her eyes closed, but a faint smile touched her lips. For a moment, the silence held. Only the crackle of distant flames filled the air. Then a sound broke it, the sharp whine of engines. The man froze. He crawled to the window, peering through the cracks. Across the ruined street, lights swept over the ground. Alien soldiers marched in formation, their armor shining even under the ash. Their voices carried, harsh and metallic. They were searching. One of them raised a scanner. The device beeped, pointing toward the building. The man cursed under his breath. They were too close. He grabbed his rifle, checking the chamber. It wasn't much, an old weapon with limited rounds, but it was all he had. The girl's weak voice called to him. "They want me." He turned back. "Why?" Her trembling hand moved to her side, where the wounds bled around something harder than flesh. Beneath her torn clothing, faint lights pulsed. Embedded in her body was alien tech, fused into her veins like glowing metal. "They said it was broken," she whispered, "but others think it is power. That is why they hunt me." The man's eyes narrowed. He had no idea what the tech was, but he understood one thing. It made her valuable and dangerous. The alien soldiers drew closer, their steps shaking the ground. The man looked at the girl. He could leave her now. Slip away through the back, disappear into the ruins, and save himself. She would be found and his burden gone. But then her eyes met his again. They were filled with the same silent plea she had whispered before. "Don't leave me too." His grip tightened on the rifle. His choice was made. He lifted the girl into his arms once more, ignoring the pain in his muscles. He slipped out the back of the building, keeping to the shadows. Every movement was slow, precise. The soldiers scanned the room he had just left, their weapons ready. He held his breath, pressing against a wall as they passed. The girl's faint whisper brushed his ear. "Why help me? You will die." "Maybe," he muttered. But better to die doing the right thing than live as a coward. The words felt heavier than the rifle in his hands. He moved quickly now, weaving through the ruins until he found a broken tunnel entrance. It led downward into the dark. Without hesitation, he carried her inside. The soldiers' voices grew faint behind them, the sound of pursuit fading. In the darkness of the tunnel, he finally stopped to rest. He placed the girl on the ground, his chest heaving from the run. He lit a small lamp, its glow casting long shadows on the damp walls. The girl's breathing was shallow, her skin pale. He pressed the cloth against her wounds again, trying to slow the bleeding. His hands were rough, clumsy, but he worked with care. She looked at him, her voice soft. Humans. They say you are dangerous, that you are monsters. He gave a short, bitter laugh. Some are. Maybe most. But not all. Her eyes blinked slowly, heavy with exhaustion. Then you are different. Before he could answer, a distant roar shook the tunnel. Dust rained from the ceiling. The ground trembled. The man lifted his head, eyes narrowing. It wasn't soldiers this time. It was something bigger. He extinguished the lamp, leaving only darkness. His hand tightened on the rifle. Beside him, the girl's faint glow was the only light. The tunnel shook with the weight of the threat above. Dust rained from the ceiling, cracks forming in the stone. The human's arms tightened around the alien girl. Her faint glow lit the darkness, small but steady, like a fragile flame refusing to die. The mechanical voice echoed again, filling every corner of the ruined colony. We know you carry her. Surrender now, human. You cannot run from us. The man clenched his jaw. His rifle felt light compared to the power of the warship waiting above. Still, he held it close because it was all he had. He looked down at the girl, weak, trembling, but alive. Stay quiet, he whispered. She nodded, too weak to speak. He moved deeper into the tunnel, each step careful. The floor was uneven, broken by time, but the shadows gave him cover. Behind him, faint footsteps echoed. Alien soldiers had entered the tunnels. Their armor clinked, their scanners hummed, drawing closer with every second. The man's heartbeat quickened. The tunnel forked ahead. One path collapsed, the other narrow and twisting. He chose the twisting one, ducking under low stone arches. His back scraped against jagged walls, but he kept moving. The girl stirred in his arms. They will not stop, she whispered. They want what is inside me. He glanced down at the faint glow running through her veins. Then they'll have to kill me first. His words were sharp, but inside he felt the weight of fear. He was one man with an injured child against an entire alien force. Still, his legs carried him forward, driven by something stronger than fear, resolve. Suddenly, light flared behind them. Search beams pierced the dark, sweeping across the walls. Voices barked commands in a harsh alien tongue. They're close, he muttered. He placed the girl gently behind a stone outcrop and raised his rifle. His breath slowed, steadying his aim. When the first soldier rounded the corner, glowing, eyes scanning, the man fired. The shot cracked like thunder in the tunnel. The alien fell, its armor sparking. The others roared in anger, charging forward. The man fired again, hitting another, then ducked behind the outcrop. Blasts of alien energy scorched the walls, lighting the darkness with blue fire. The girl clutched the stone, her body trembling. For the first time since being abandoned, someone fought for her. The man reloaded quickly, teeth gritted. He fired, once more forcing the soldiers back. But there were too many. Their footsteps shook the ground as they pressed forward. He grabbed the girl again, pulling her close. We move now, he hissed. With one arm holding her and the other gripping his rifle, he sprinted down the twisting tunnel. The walls closed tighter around them, forcing him to duck and stumble. Energy blasts whined past his head, scorching the stone. The girl's voice trembled. Why not leave me? You can escape without me. His steps didn't falter. Because no one left behind deserves to die. The tunnel opened suddenly into a massive underground chamber. Broken machines lay scattered, relics of an old mining station. Rusted tracks ran across the floor, and a long-forgotten transport cart sat half-buried in dust. The man's eyes darted across the chamber. Then he saw it, a half-functioning power cell still blinking faintly on one of the carts. It wasn't much, but maybe it could move. He rushed toward it, laying the girl inside the cart. She winced but held on, her glow illuminating the controls. The aliens stormed into the chamber behind them. Their leader raised a blade-like weapon, shouting, "The girl belongs to us, hand her over, human." The man ignored them. His rough hands slammed against the old controls, praying the machine still had life. Sparks flew, gears groaned, and the cart lurched forward on the tracks. Blasts lit up the chamber as the aliens fired. The cart screeched as it moved, sparks raining around them. The man ducked low, shielding the girl with his body. The cart sped into a tunnel on the far side, plunging them deeper into the underground. Alien shouts echoed behind them, growing faint as the darkness swallowed all light. For a moment, only the rattling of the cart filled the silence. The girl looked up at him, her crystal-like eyes glimmering. "You should have left me," she whispered. The man looked down at her, his face hard but steady. "And prove them right? Prove that humanity is nothing but monsters?" He shook his head. "Not today." The girl's lips trembled. For the first time, she felt something she hadn't felt in a long time. Hope. But the silence didn't last. A deep rumble shook the tunnels. The tracks quivered. The man's grip tightened as the cart screeched to a halt. Ahead of them, a massive shape blocked the tunnel, a towering alien machine, its eyes glowing like molten fire. The girl gasped. They sent a hunter. The man raised his rifle, though he knew it would barely scratch the machine. Still, he stepped forward, placing himself between the girl and the threat. His heart pounded, but his voice was steady. "They'll have to go through me first." The machine's lights flared, and the chamber shook with its roar. The alien hunter's lights burned like twin suns in the dark tunnel. Its huge frame filled the space, armor glowing with pulsing veins of fire. Every step it took shook the ground, each thud echoing like a death bell. The human tightened his grip on the rifle. He knew the weapon was nothing against this beast, but still, he stood tall. Behind him, the alien girl clutched the side of the cart, her glowing veins flickering, brighter with fear. The hunter's voice was deep, mechanical, almost alive. "You protect her." "Why?" "She is abandoned. She is nothing." The man's heart pounded, but his voice was steady. "She's not nothing. She's someone. And as long as she's breathing, she matters." The hunter tilted its head as if confused by the words. Then it raised its weapon. Energy gathered, crackling like thunder. The man didn't move. He planted his feet, body blocking the girl completely. If the machine fired, he would be the first to fall. But before the blast came, something strange happened. The girl cried out, her small hands glowing with sudden blinding light. The glow spread across her body, veins turning into rivers of fire. The tunnel filled with a radiant pulse that forced the hunter back a step. The machine's weapon flickered, disrupted by her energy. The roar of power collapsed into silence. Sparks showered from the hunter's chest as it staggered. The girl's glow dimmed as quickly as it had risen, leaving her gasping for air. The man turned, staring at her in shock. What was that?" Her voice trembled. "It is inside me. A power they call the core. My family feared it. They thought it was a curse." She lowered her eyes. "So they abandoned me." The man knelt, brushing dust from her pale skin. "What they saw is a curse, and I see as life, and I'll protect it." She looked at him, her eyes glistening. "Even if it kills you?" He gave a grim smile. "Especially then." The hunter roared, stabilizing itself, but the man didn't. "Wait." He scooped the girl into his arms and sprinted down a side tunnel. Energy blasts tore into the walls behind him, sending rocks crashing down. His breath burned, but he didn't stop. They emerged into a cavern lit by shafts of moonlight, breaking through cracks above. The girl clung tightly to him, her body trembling. For the first time since meeting him, she asked softly, "Why? Why do this for me?" He paused, setting her down carefully on a stone ledge. His voice was quiet, raw. "Because I know what it feels like to be left behind. I won't let it happen to you." Her crystal-like eyes filled with tears. She whispered, "Then you are not like the others." The cavern shook again. The hunter was still coming, its massive steps breaking stone. The man cursed under his breath. He scanned the cavern, searching desperately for a way out. Then he saw it, a crack in the wall leading to the surface, faint starlight shining through. He grabbed the girl again and ran. Behind them, the hunter's roar grew louder, shaking the very air. They burst into the night. The colony lay before them, silent and broken. Above, the sky glowed red. A massive alien warship hovered in orbit, its silhouette blotting out the stars. Its engines rumbled like thunder, and its voice echoed across the land. "Surrender the child, human, or we will burn this world." The man froze, staring up at the colossal ship. The girl clutched his shirt, trembling. "They will kill everyone for me," she whispered. "You should let me go." His hands tightened on her shoulders. "No. That's what they want, that's what cowards do. But we don't walk away from those who need us, not humans, not me." Her tears fell silently, but in her chest, something changed. No one had ever said those words to her. Not her family, not her people. Only this human, who had every reason to leave, chose to stay. The warship's weapons began to charge, glowing brighter with every second. The ground shook as smaller alien crafts descended, surrounding the ruins like vultures. The human pulled the girl close, shielding her with his body once more. His heart hammered, but his voice was calm when he whispered to her, "Whatever happens, you're not alone anymore." The girl closed her eyes, her glow returning, stronger this time. The core within her pulsed like a heartbeat, answering the threat above. The warship's weapons locked on the colony. The night was about to burn. The night sky burned red as the alien warship hovered above the ruined colony. Its engines growled like a beast ready to strike. Across the land, smaller crafts circled like predators, searchlights cutting through smoke and ash. The human stood, in the rubble, his body weary, his rifle nearly useless against such power. In his arms, the alien girl clung tightly, her glowing veins flickering brighter and brighter. Her breath trembled, her eyes fixed on the stars above. The warship's booming voice shook the ground. "Surrender the child, human. You are nothing. Humanity is nothing. One life is not worth a world." The man spat into the dust, his jaw tight. "You're wrong. One life is worth everything." The girl looked up at him, her crystal-like eyes wet with tears. "They will kill you," she whispered. His voice was steady. "Then I'll die knowing I didn't walk away." The warship's cannons glowed, charging with deadly energy. The colony shook as cracks spread through the ground. The smaller alien crafts locked their weapons on the ruins, preparing to strike. The girl's glow spread suddenly, her whole body trembling as if the core within her had awakened fully. She cried out, her voice echoing through the night, and a wave of radiant light exploded outward. The blast shook the entire colony. The hunter machine that had pursued them froze, its armor cracking under the force. Alien soldiers collapsed as their weapons sparked and died. The smaller craft spiraled from the sky, engines dead, crashing harmlessly into the dirt. The warship staggered in orbit, its cannons flickering. Inside, alarms blared in alien tongues. The core's energy disrupted everything, systems, weapons, even the very power of the ship. The human shielded the girl with his body as the wave of light grew brighter. He expected fire, destruction, but instead the light wrapped around them like a shield. The rubble melted away, yet he and the girl remained unharmed in its center. The warship roared in frustration, its voice shaking the clouds. "Impossible! The core should not exist, she was broken." The man looked up at the massive ship, his voice sharp with defiance. "She's not broken. She's alive, and you threw her away." The girl's glow softened, wrapping the colony in a shimmering dome of light. The alien warship's cannons flickered again, trying to charge, but then went dark completely. The ship hung helpless above the planet, powerless before the small figure below. Inside the ship, commanders shouted, panicked. Across the galaxy, transmissions were intercepted, messages of shock spreading like wildfire. A single human protects the core child. The warship disabled. The impossible has happened. The galaxy had never seen this before. The girl collapsed against the man's chest, exhausted but alive. He lowered her gently to the ground, brushing the dust from her pale skin. "You did it," he whispered. Her voice was faint but steady. "No, we did it. You gave me strength." The ruins fell silent. The warship drifted in orbit, too afraid to strike again. Soldiers who had once hunted her now pulled back, their courage broken. For the first time they saw not a weapon, not a burden, but a child defended by someone who should have hated her. The man lifted his gaze to the sky. He knew messages were already spreading across systems. Stories of what happened here would travel faster than any ship. Stories of one human, one child, and one act of kindness that shook the stars. The girl opened her eyes, weak but determined. "They will come again," she whispered. "Others will want the core. They will not stop." He nodded. "Then we'll be ready. You're not alone anymore." Her trembling hand reached for his, fingers curling around his rough palm. For the first time she felt safe. Far above, the warship slowly retreated, its massive frame shrinking into the night sky. It carried fear back to the galaxy. Fear of a power they thought broken, and fear of a human's compassion stronger than any weapon. In the silence of the ruined colony, the man and the alien girl sat together. Two lives that should never have crossed, bound now by a single truth. Humanity's kindness had changed everything, and the galaxy would never forget.